Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. So today we're going to be discussing the state of the game. For those of you who don't know what happened, I guess I can quickly do a rundown. If you're having invisible walls, it's probably because of the streaming. They're taking data from you as you're playing, and so this is most likely what the problem is. One of the developers alluded to the possibility of hard drives, but I'm glad Yannick quickly walked that back and said, it is still our responsibility. And I think Yannick still, in my opinion, has the better attitude in terms of how he views the communication and interaction with the community. I just feel like he has a sense of the urgency that the community is, emitting. The community is like saying, hey, we need to hear about these things. And so Yannick is that person who his eyes were trained on chat all through the state of the game, most of the time anyways. And he was looking at the questions and wanted to answer the questions. And when people were talking about the specializations, he said some people have guessed right on the specialization. He just seems to have an awareness of all of this interaction and shows it more in any sense. I guess I'm not trying to say other people don't have any awareness. I'm just saying so. But nonetheless, I have to still go ahead and, state this, that as at the moment they started out with the state of the game discussion, talking about apparel, caches, and textiles and all that stuff, it made me ask myself, what is the priority of this entire game's development and this team's focus? What is their end game? What is there to tell the community that we are to tell the community, hang with us, stay with us, stay on our servers? What is there? To me, it seemed like they put the caches in the forefront of the discussion. And I don't know, maybe I'm probably going to be picking on the order of how they did the state of the game, because they could have presented the information in any order and it would still be the same information. But I just feel like they should have been much more, smart about how they discuss the cache thing. That should have been on the back end, on the back burner, in order to actually minimize it, because that's, in terms of what the community is looking for, that's on the far bottom of the list, if you understand what I mean. And they should have been working on taking a lot more responsibility as to how they did, present everything to the community. Because if you look at it, what they actually did promise was what they've delivered so far. The only problem is a lot of people went ahead and perceived it as getting valuable content, but instead we're only getting conveniences. So if you paid for the season pass, or if you bought the gold or ultimate edition, most of what you're getting in terms of content is, some extra content, but nothing to make people who didn't buy the season pass feel like we missed out on anything. Sure, you're going to get access to the specialization immediately, but people who didn't buy the season pass can always grind that content and get the specialization as well. So all you paid for was just convenience. You paid for early access is pretty much what you paid for. And so that's why people feel burned, because that money could have been used to better serve, maybe paying for another game. Full games come at that price. There are DLCs that will eat the current division right now in the state that it is. So I feel like they should have addressed those situations and maybe put it back to say, this is what we promised and this is what we're delivering. But it seems like in the marketing, everything was all over the place. They first wanted to sell extra stash space. That didn't work out. I made a video, saying that was not a thing that they needed to do. SkillUp made a video. A lot of people made videos about this. And so what we saw in today's state of the game was something that is not shocking. I made the video saying, keep your expectations low, and I kind of suspected that this is probably where we're going to be. I remember speaking with my wife and saying, I think the only way that this game is going to make everybody drop what they're doing and come back is if they said, hello, welcome to state of the game. Right now, you can go download the raid, or you can go download this thing right now, this content that you can keep playing. And I think that's definitely something that would have changed the game. But right now, it doesn't seem like that's on the priority list. It doesn't seem like there's a clear vision for the community to follow. I will keep covering the Division 2. I'll keep talking about the game. But like I said, I am not surprised. I'm not disappointed. But I also have to say, for many of the folks that have been skeptic, you were correct. You were right. You don't have any confidence in the way things are being done. And I'm sure many new people are shocked as to how Division loyal followers can still continue to stay with a game like this. I guess it's just our personal biases. For those of you who said, hey, come to Destiny, who said this game doesn't seem to have anything in place for a long time, you were correct. I should have listened more carefully. I did take your advice. Yeah, I bought the game, I was on track, but it just seemed like, when you have a bias like that, it continues to pull you back in. But you were correct. You were very on the money. In fact, I think why many people kind of saw this day coming a while ago is because they have been in this kind of ecosystem for a long time. I'm the baby here. The Division is the first MMO style game that I have ever played in my life. Many people have been grinding out WoW, Diablo, all these other games that did so much with so little in the time that they were made. And today we have games like the Division 2 that has done very little with so much. You have an existing community willing to support you. I mean, it's amazing. There are games being developed right now that the developers and the marketing teams don't even know if their games are going to appeal to a single soul on the streets. Yet, the Division 2 can boast of at least an existing community, and they decide to go this direction. It is amazing. It is quite amazing. In fact, after today's state of the game, I took one because I'm like an Ubisoft supporter. I like what they do in some sense and how they support creators. Now, for many gamers, you might not see that as a big deal, but trust me, Ubisoft allows for us to be able to use their video games and talk about their products and all that stuff and be able to monetize it on platforms like this without any issues. That is something that has to be first stated. We may be upset at the way they run some of their ships, and rightly so, because that's from a consumer aspect. But at the same time, I just told myself I just cannot come to terms with doing any more than I already have done in terms of supporting, the way they are actually doing their games. I actually bought Ghost Recon Breakpoint a few days ago. It was still on sale on Epic Games. And I was like, yeah, I'll get myself a small copy, like, $13, but I went ahead and refunded my money. I'm going to go ahead and put that into getting Thronebreaker, which is a game made from the Witcher series, not because I'm going to play it, but I'm just going to support CD Projekt Red. At this point, I just have to put my money where my mouth is. I just feel like I feel vile if I don't purchase a copy of The Witcher and just give it away just to say it's time to start treating companies that treat their player base with respect with the utmost respect. I was happy to play Jedi Fallen Order without a heartbeat because it was the absolute contradiction of the greed that EA had been trying to perpetrate in the gaming industry. And they actually ate their own crow, contradicted themselves, and released a game that they actually said players did not want to critical and acclaimed success. And so it really beats me. It really boggles my mind how right now we're in a place where the only few things that could have really added more confidence to this state of the game today in terms of massive were just mentioning the proposition for future content past what we already know is coming out. And they kept saying it's free. Like, yeah, we know it's free. But those of us who by sheer will of good faith went ahead and bought gold and, whatever editions just to support this studio, that wasn't free. That was something, sure, we're paying for conveniences, but to what extent are these conveniences worth compared to the prior game that had better DLC, better extra content with replayability? So I guess if I go compare the Division 2 to other games, I get all these comments saying you're comparing apples to apples. And I'm saying to myself, which apple am I? I'm comparing DC to the Big Apple in Division 1. Those are the apples I'm comparing. Survival was a very good replayable DLC. Even though people may have said, we didn't want to play Survival, you cannot argue against the nature of the content. Underground, even though people may say I didn't really like Underground, You cannot argue as to the nature and quality of that content. And so for them to have said, oh, this year one pass is just 2 free missions and all this stuff, early access of missions and some classified assignments, which are locked, by the way, you can't replay them, which is what we're talking about, replayability. Like once you do it in a specific window, it has a timer on there before you can come back and do it. So you paid to be able to access something for a specific period of time that's only exclusive to you, exclusively in the time that it's allotted for. Come on. We gotta figure out something here, or maybe this team doesn't even understand how to appreciate a community. It might not be that they don't really know exactly what to do. They probably don't know how to either own their responsibility for having missteps, or saying, you know what, we appreciate you guys actually, being in our community, and this is where we are. I don't know. I don't think I need to teach anybody how to do PR. I think there's just a lot of chip on the shoulders. We're the developers and these gamers are plebs type deal. It's okay. Maybe one day a community of gamers will make a game that will really, challenge the common thinking. I think that's what needs to happen. I think somebody is going to eventually make a game that will appeal to a community and actually eventually go ahead and just win everything. And we have some studios on the rise. We have some studios that are established. We have studios like CD Projekt Red. We have some other studios that are actually making waves on the indie level. I think they are learning very fast, and their learning curve is now becoming much better because of the internet. Like their learning curve is becoming much more tolerable. They're picking up fast from where all these other games have failed, and they're doing a wonderful job in bringing RPG games to the market that are just good right off the bat. So I guess we'll see. I'll play New York, like I said, but until then, it's just a matter of looking at some aspects of the old game and continuing to contrast them to this new game that we have, because I feel like that is just so necessary. And whoever, made that comment and said, go back and cover the Division 1 and compare it to the Division 2, you are a genius. You are a better content creator than I am, because that idea was so relevant to that body of work that I've been doing in the past few weeks, have been so relevant to today's discussion that I have to applaud you and I have to thank you. I can't even remember the gamer tag. I just read the comment in passing, and I'll probably go back and be scouring videos upon videos to see where I can find that comment. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're in a tight spot. I mean, those of us who like this game, we're probably still going to be playing the game. I'll be playing at the frequency I'm playing at, which is just very, very scarcely anyways. Some people are still going to be playing dedicatedly. It doesn't really bother them. They still want to keep grinding the game, which is fine. But at the end of the day, you have to really call it what it is. There's just no clear vision. And without that, we don't really know exactly where we're going. So I guess we just have to sit there and watch. People might even go ahead and laugh at our expense right now. Those of us who've actually held on in any form. I mean, yes, expectations low and everything, but there's still expectations anyways. And to continue to have them get disappointed like this, to me, just feels like they feel like they have us on this carrot on a stick model, and they feel like it's working in their advantage. They have the data. They look very confident. It seems like there are a lot of people still playing the game. So they're just like, we're fine. We're good. And they're probably comparing it to other games. Even though streamers and all these other people have left, you could smell that little, arrogance in there. I could see it today. I was just looking like, I don't know. For some of us, we're just all about the body language. I'm sorry, developers. When you come on the screen, part of my brain is listening to what you're saying. The other part, I'm just watching how you're behaving. Because for some strange reason, it is very difficult to hide, a body of knowledge. And maybe behind that arrogance is a whole bunch of content, to put in the face of the critics. But I wish that they would just lay everything on the table and let the community know what direction they're going and where they eventually would like to end up. And I feel like that's going to be much more of a respectful way. The policy is frustrating for the consumer. That's all I'm saying. Not saying it's a bad policy, but I'm saying after so many years of supporting you guys, the least that you could do is treat your community with a little bit more, ownership of what's going on. And if you don't feel like we're worth that ownership, then somebody else is going to share that ownership with this community, and we'll probably listen to them.